And joining us, we have got two great analysts and indeed observers. We have got Yanko, who had his first ever Reddit appreciation thread. Yay!
That's why he came with a tie today.
Yeah.
He's asking for more money.
Yep, his own dressing room. We got Yanko there, and of course we've got from Room on Fire the wonderful Vendetta. How are you guys doing today?
Awesome. I'm really excited. We had some crazy games, crazy upsets yesterday. Luminosity knocking out NIP, so it's going to be really interesting to see in what form they show up today.
Yeah, excited to see Fnatic play. We haven't seen too much of them. They kind of coasted their way through the tournament up till this point, so I think they're going to be up for their first test.
So speaking of the tournament up until this point, let's take a recap. If you're only just joining us, you've missed an amazing tournament. It's had everything, including 16 zeros, and one of those teams that were on the receiving end of that 16-0 in the semis, which is a bit crazy. Anyway, we'll bring that up for you now on screen. You can see this is the Group A side of things. So we got off to an interesting start. Legacy, the New Zealand-Australian mix, went up against Virtus.pro. Took 12 rounds, good account of themselves, but class told. Then we had Team Liquid, unfortunately, on the receiving end of a Thanksgiving stuffing at the hands of TSM. Then Virtus.pro played TSM, probably the game of that day. Very close, TSM edging it. And then Team Liquid beat Legacy 2-0 to set up Virtus.pro to 2-0 Team Liquid and send them home. Now on Group B, we had a crazy shock in the first game from that group. NIP beat Envious 16-8. Then Fnatic 16-0 Luminosity. The new look Fnatic taking on the new look Luminosity. Looked like the Swedes had the better deal of it, but the story doesn't end there. Fnatic then go on to beat NIP, proving their mettle on Dust 2. Luminosity overcame Envious, the major winners. Nobody saw that coming. Not even the staunchest Brazilian fanboy saw that one coming. And then Luminosity double up by beating NIP, putting them out the tournament in an action-packed game, which sets up the semi-finals as this. Fnatic versus Virtus.pro will be the first game of the day. One of the best matchups in Counter-Strike right now. And TSM Luminosity, intriguing for very different reasons. Now,
you've got to be fair to the Luminosity and Brazilian fanboys. I think you've sold them a bit short. I know some of them thought that they were going to win that. That's because I've seen some of them predict Luminosity would win games between TSM and Virtus.pro.
That is true. They are bad betters.
Got him.
Got him. Well, let's just talk about the semis. Obviously, we're going to go to the stage soon and introduce our good friend Parla. But I mean, these are some great semi-finals. I know we've got Fnatic Virtus.pro first, but let's just talk about TSM Luminosity, which is going to come later in the day. Mad, surprising semi-final. Both of those teams now in very different positions. I feel TSM need to at least make the final of this tournament to kind of justify what's going on behind the scenes for them. Luminosity had no expectations coming into this. Now suddenly they're winning best of threes.
Well, consider this. On day one, TSM 16-0'd someone. On day one, Luminosity got 16-0'd by someone. So the disparity couldn't have been bigger to start the tournament off. But listen, TSM's still a world-class team. They're still an elite-level team. They only tend to lose to top-level teams. Yeah, they probably do need to win at the tournament overall to kind of keep that status there and not just be an also run. But you have to look at the form that Luminosity was in yesterday, and you can't ignore that. You can't look at beating Envious in a best of three, then beating NIP in a best of three, and you're there in all the maps. Like they were very, very impressive. But will form carry over day to day? That's always a big question with these teams. Whereas TSM, you kind of feel like you know their day-to-day form a bit better, I think.
Yeah. And what did you guys make of it?
Yeah, it's really the same. It's like what you mentioned with the day-to-day form. They started out the tournament getting 16-0'd. So we immediately thought, well, there's no hope for Luminosity. They're just done.
Yeah.
And they come back. I'm really afraid that they're going to run into a super expected TSM, which is going to perform, and Luminosity won't be up to the task. That's my biggest fear. I also think the map pool that TSM has plays fairly decently into Luminosities as well. So that
they
could
don't
be another
decide to Vito train instead of Cobble again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that could be a big.
Well, I mean, we'll definitely talk about the crazy TSM veto process a little later. But Yanko, Luminosity definitely caught your eye. Do they have a chance of winning that semi-final? Do you think they could go to the final?
Of course they do. Yesterday after the show was done, we were talking about how we couldn't make a single prediction, you know, how crazy the tournament has been. So I predicted Luminosity is going to beat TSM, then lose to Fnatic 16-0 in both maps in the final.
Why not? Why not? Why not?
Reasonable.
Why
It's
not?
only reasonable.
Considering the tournament.
That Reddit thread's wrecked him. No, but I mean, it was just crazy to see Luminosity sort of bounce back like that. And you know, I still think this is why it's tough being an analyst, right? And we've got it so hard, haven't we?
I know. All that mad money they pay me.
It's a tough one.
Fanboys just crying all the time.
But think about it though. I mean,
Trying to hide,
I think everything we said was rational up until that point where we were like, you don't change a lineup 2 days before a tournament or this happens, you get 16-0'd. But now the advantage seems to have been they've started playing, nobody can get a read on them. There's no demos to go and review. You have no idea how they're going to play, what maps they're even going to pick. It's made them this sort of unknown quantity, and it's working for them.
Well, I guess that's the added benefit that TSM gets, given that Luminosity have made it so far into the tournament. They're actually going to have LAN demos to look at of Luminosity, and you know, if they take their job seriously, they've probably done so and gone through several of the strategies that Luminosity have done, because we saw that versus NIP on Cobble. They did the same B execute every single round, pretty much, and they just did the same thing versus Envy as well. So if they go into a map like Cobble, for instance, if that just so happens to not be vetoed by any of the teams, then we could easily see TSM having something prepared for that, and that's worrying if you're LG.
The difference is as well, some of the teams like an Envious and Fnatic, they never did go down the anti-strat route. They went down the route, in Envious's case, they just tried to find favorable actual aim duels and win them. Fnatic was more like they just tried to read the game as it comes to them. TSM, I've even heard Kerrigan complain to me, because he's an old school 1.6 player. Like, it actually annoys him that some of these teams, you can't just look at the demos and anti-strat them. He wants to go back to that style of play, so I expect they will have watched the demos and they will have come in knowing, like, right, if there was only a couple of strats worked on this particular map, so they haven't got that down, if we play that, we're going to shut those down specifically. We're not just going to play our standard game, we're going to have stuff prepared to destroy that strat. 'Cause if they don't have that, maybe they fall apart completely, and that is a real possibility for Luminosity.
So the first semi-final we're going to have, obviously, is Virtus.pro versus Fnatic. And new look Fnatic, and Cuban alluded on stage that Virtus.pro are trying a different style of play. I don't know how much that was kidology or whatever, who knows. But let's just talk about this Fnatic side. Very different to what we were used to seeing under Pronax. Super aggressive T-sides from them, and they look a very different prospect.
I mean, that was the thing. The original Fnatic built their name on being the amazing CT side team. They were more like reactive CT side team. This team, yeah, at the moment, they're blowing everyone away on the T side. So that will be very, very interesting going head-to-head with VP. Because to me, okay, other teams have times. Envious, when everyone's on fire, maybe they're the best T side team. TSM's very routined, but VP's the mainstay. They're always amazing on T sides. In fact, they're the crazy team where they can win the T side of a map like Train and then maybe not even get that many CT rounds. So I just want to see, can this new look Fnatic in that sense go head-to-head with VP just on T sides? Yeah. Because that's going to be a tough, tough test.
To expand on your point a bit, I think that with this lineup, Fnatic played 8 games so far, and in those games where they got to play a full T side, in 7 or in 6 out of the 7 maps, they actually got more than 7 rounds on T. So they got the majority of the rounds on their T side, which is kind of surprising considering when we talked about it in Luminosity's case as well. Usually when you switch players, it's easier for you to play the CT side. It's mostly individual, that you're prepared for whatever comes your way, and it gets more difficult on the T side where you need that teamwork, cohesion, flash for each other, those executes and everything. So they played 2 games here, so it's kind of hard to tell on LAN how their other maps are, what's their map pool at the moment. But in one map, obviously against Luminosity, they got 15 rounds on the CT side. Against NIP, they get 12 rounds on the T side. Unluckily for them, against Virtus.pro, in this particular case, Virtus always bans Dust 2. So yeah, we'll have to see
we'll
how
see
that
what
goes.
happens, and we're going to get some insight on that now from Parla. He's on stage to introduce these 2 teams.
We're gonna win the tournament because I think we are the best team. We got the most skilled team in the scene right now, and we make teams feel bad, and it's awesome.
I don't think so. It's a pretty hard match versus Fnatic. We won versus them this year, a couple of times, so we don't scare them. I tell you, a lot of times, if you scare someone, you should stay in home.
We don't have any special things going into this tournament, but some small things, maybe some moves or anything like that, but we play very simple and gonna keep it like that.
We are real fighters playing a lot of years with the best teams in the world, and we beat them a lot of times, so easy. Just play, focus and win.
Welcome, everybody, to the final 4-day here at the FACEIT season finale at DreamHack Winter 2015.
comes out the apartments, it's happy gone.
Second, and then the Molotov goes down, and Pronax does it! Ace from Pronax! The Monastery's chasing them down. Absolute Please put your hands together for Team Fnatic and Team Virtus.pro! Good to see you both. Now this is going to be an extremely exciting matchup. Crims, can I just get a bit of background on the tournament so far for you guys? Because it has been relatively easy. I think a 16-4 and a 16-0. So coming into this, could you guys be too relaxed?
There's not really much to say about the first two games. We played perfectly Counter-Strike and we're ready for this.
Taz, now you guys, you started off with a 13-16 loss to TSM, but then you went 16-0 against Liquid. So you've had a mixed bag so far at this tournament.
We didn't go 16-0 against Liquid.
Oh, is that my mistake? I apologize. What did you do, Taz? Please correct me.
But, I mean, we don't look at our scores, what we had before in this event. We are looking on Fnatic, and this is our target now.
Okay, Crims. You know, the last 3 maps that you've played against these guys, you've actually won. But, you know, is it going to be different coming into this? You've got a new roster, things are different now.
Not really, but now we got Dennis. It's going to be more firepower and easier for us.
Okay. Taz, what do you think about that? Do you think as a team you guys are evenly matched? Or do you think maybe arguably they could be better, you could be better?
I think that their team is now like LGB in Katowice 2014, so I'm looking forward to defeating them again.
All right. Ooh. Talking about that, yeah, it is now, your roster is very similar to older rosters in the past. Is it nice to have that kind of like vibe again as a team?
Yeah, of course. I love Dennis. He's a good guy and we have much fun together, so it's going to be good.
So the chemistry is there then, definitely. He's fit right in straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Taz, final thing for you then. You know, these guys are arguably, you know, one of the best right now, sailing near the top. And we've seen upsets so far. Do you think technically it would be a bit of an upset if you guys won it? Arguably, realistically, going into here, do you think you can pull it off?
I think that if we are top 3 in the world, there is no upset if we will beat them.
All right, well, that's great confidence. Guys, if you want to shake your hands and head off to the booths, we're going to get this match going. It's going to be an amazing, amazing amount of CS we're about to see. The guys on the desk are going to take us into it right about now.
Hey, thanks a lot for that, Parla. So there you go. Again, these two teams obviously know each other very well. A lot of respect between both of them. But you can see as well, they're both sort of competing almost a little bit for a mind game there, I thought, which was quite interesting.
I actually like that line from Taz there, because even though he's right, 3 of these members were in the LGB lineup, which played in the semi-finals of Katowice, the first major that the Poles here won. Actually, interestingly, most people will think of this as Fnatic, though. We think, right, there was the Fnatic era before, they were the #1 team, they were the dominant one. So he's kind of in his own mind cast LGB as the underdogs because VP beat them in 2 series in those tournaments. And so to him, it will be the other way around. If they beat us, it'd be an upset. So I like that, actually.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
It's a way to get a little edge on someone, you know.
But I mean, you know, Taz understands the psychology of competition perhaps better than a lot of
Whereas obviously, if he'd been a very charismatic guy, Crims could have just been like, well, I have won about like 9 tournaments since then, Taz, you know, so not really, mate, you know.
Anyway, let's get the veto underway. Guys, tell me where you think this is going to go. Standard bans, Fnatic with Overpass and Virtus.pro with just 2. What are they going to pick?
The big question is, will Virtus.pro try Train? If I was them, I'd be picking Train here. I think that's a good risk, but it's one where it'd probably be a good calculator, especially because it is a new Fnatic as well. They were never really known for a lot of it. Instead, they've gone with the classic Mirage, which has been kind of a map that Fnatic's been getting back into again. They'd be envious on it at the major, but I still don't think it was a super strong map for Fnatic.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was expecting Mirage to come out from VP because the train map pick would have been iffy, in my opinion, simply because Fnatic with Dennis have actually beaten Virtus.pro on that map. So when it comes to Fnatic, I'm expecting Inferno to come out, and there we go. There it is, because out of the 11 total games that they've played with Dennis, they've played 3 different maps. And that's Dust 2 5 times, Inferno 4 times. Like, they clearly show a preference towards
It's also
these 2
the
maps.
case that Inferno's like the heat check map for VP. If they're in like plow mode, yeah, they'll win Inferno.
Yeah.
But actually, they're not like super good on it anymore, even though we think of it as a VP map. It's down the bottom end of their map pool. This is very strange though to ban Cobble, but I think that's just a history thing there, which is that Fnatic have a great history of beating Virtus.pro on Cobbles. They just don't even want to play that. Now I'm expecting from Fnatic, I think it'll be a cash ban at this point in time.
But that's the funny thing, because both these teams are not particularly good on cash as of late.
They've gone with Train actually, so
yeah, it's going to be the last map, the Zerg map, is actually it's a map that both teams are not that strong on as of late, and we haven't seen Fnatic, the new lineup.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
On cash, so that could be
with Dennis's firepower in there and instead of Pronax, maybe they can be a little bit more explosive. But cash, they always used to have to rely on Olofmeister to go big to win it.
But here's the thing, with this new lineup and the fact that they haven't really practiced much at all, and Crim's saying it, they're going to keep it simple. That actually bodes really well for a map like Cash. You can keep it really simple. It's very standardized smokes. You don't have to do anything really spectacular to potentially be effective. That's why Envy were so good on Cash. So if Fnatic are able to put that into their game going up against VP now, VP can be in a lot of trouble. If it even makes it.
The key thing for me is because we knew already Virtus.pro was going to ban Dust 2, Fnatic doesn't have one map that they're a certainty to win on here. But again, the way the map veto's worked out, VP doesn't have one that they're like a lock to win either. Actually, all 3 look, you could really make cases on either side for who would be the favorite here. I think you've got a good chance of a 3-map series.
Well, let's take a look at the Fnatic lineup. Duncan, again, if you can introduce these players and tell us a bit about them.
Sure, so we'll start on the left here. I think that's actually Vilgo sat there, but Olofmeister will be sat there later on. Was probably the best player in the world for, probably at least 6 to 8 months, so a very long time as the dominant force. And he was the guy where even if the team was falling down a little bit or slumping a little bit, he could always get you out of trouble. He was that dominant a force. To his right is Dennis, former teammate of his. Here's what's interesting. Back when they were in LGB, back in early 2014, it was actually Dennis and Olofmeister were the best players in that team. Crims, the guy on the right, he was actually kind of just the supportive player, and he's the one guy no one used to talk about, actually. Dennis is a very skilled player, but you can still see he still hasn't quite hit that old LGB form yet. He's still working his way back into it. In Kingwin and G2, he got up to a good level again, but now he's on a world-class team. Now he has to start to develop into that kind of a role. In the middle now, Flusher, now the in-game leader, but formerly was just the lurker in the team. But at one point in time, if we're doing history again, in 2014, he was a very, very good lurker, though. Extremely consistent. Within this team, they brought in other star players. He had to kind of like give up a bit of space, play around other people. He was more on the supportive end of the scale there. To his right is JW. Really, really aggressive player. One of the most risk, just loves risk, basically. He's one of the few players who doesn't understand the concept of risk averse, basically. You know that whole risk-reward thing? He's like, yeah, take a risk and I get a reward, right? That's just, it's fun to watch, though, because if it works, it can be incredibly explosive. Obviously, he's the primary AWPer of the team also. And on the right is Crims here. Very, very stable player. Guy who, even though he's playing like supportive style, he's playing around the team, he will get a lot of kills as well himself. To me, he's like the workhorse of the team. Like, you want Olofmeister to get the crazy kills to win you the game. You want JW to annoy the opponents, Flusher to get some clutches, but Crims is there just to get the 1 or 2, the easy kills, but to always get them. He's like the MBK of their team.
Yeah. Anything to add to that, guys? Is there a player that we need to watch specifically in this Fnatic lineup?
Well, I would point out Crims, especially looking at the map pool and the first 2 maps, since we talked about it yesterday when VP played, how they're really good at taking mid control, then going either A or B. I think Crims is going to be crucial in their defense on Mirage, since he plays the stair area, and also he's going to be the guy that's probably going to have first contact. And on Inferno after that, he's the B player, so we could see maybe him, Fnatic leaving him alone on that B side, and he, in the past, could take 2 or 3 kills defending
That's
the
what's
bomb.
interesting, though. When they first got Dennis into lineup, I saw there was an online game where Crims actually tweeted like they kicked me out of BO and Inferno. I think it was like Dennis and Olaf were playing that or something. So I don't know if that was just a one-off. They were trying something out, but it'd be interesting to see if they switched it up here because, again, if you go against Fnatic on Inferno, their classic map, you kind of do know where everyone's going to be roughly because it works for them. So I'd love to see if VP gets surprised. Like maybe it's a different setup there.
Now, Vendetta, I'm going to let you introduce Virtus.pro because obviously Duncan's always talking about these guys. So I'll let you do it.
Yeah, so starting off to our left, we've got Pasha, previously the main operator for Virtus.pro, very known figure in the scene. And, you know, people often criticize him for not being the strongest player or not most consistent player on VP. But, you know, from time to time, he does show up in tournaments. And he usually has, instead of streaky maps, he has just a really solid tournament overall. So if he gets off to a hot start for VP, he is someone you can rely on. For that tournament. Bialy, one of the newcomers, if we can even call it that. This lineup has been together for the longest time. It's the longest tenured lineup in CSGO. So, but Bialy, the newest of the newcomers, I guess. Insane rifler, bit inconsistent. He's probably the most inconsistent player on that team, but we've seen what he can do with the rifle. He's incredibly important to the team's success. If they want to be successful, he has to play well. Neo in the middle. Assuming he's calling for this tournament, I'm not sure if we actually figured that out, if it's Taz or Neo, but that's something that kind of just rotates.
Yeah, they do it.
They usually switch between.
Yeah, exactly. Neo had a bit of a slump, not the same kind of an amazing player or spectacle to watch as he was in 1.6, but after he started picking up that op as of late, the last few months, he's been really hitting his stride. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Neo play here. Then we got Taz, the face of VP in many ways. One of the old guys in CSGO, really. Just an overall solid player, someone you can rely on, and he's also one of the best motivators, I think. He's not going to let his team get down on himself. He's always going to be there to pick them up, even if they get off to a rough start. And then, at the very right, we had Snacks, who is, in my opinion, the most important player on VP.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about Snacks. I'll bring you in, Yanko. I mean, again, I feel like we've talked about him all tournament, but there is a reason for that, because he is one of the best players in the world.
Of course, he was maybe alongside with Happy, the player most known for playing around smokes, pushing through smokes, getting behind his enemy's back. We saw it even yesterday in a replay against Liquid on Overpass, how he got behind 4 of Liquid's players, gave crucial info to his teammates, basically won the round just by his positioning. So a player like that is an amazing asset to any team.
Anything to add, Duncan?
Well, the interesting thing is, in the past, every time VP played Fnatic, one thing you could always say is, but the best player in the server is going to be on Fnatic's side. It's going to be Olaf Meister. He's the best. At the moment, Olaf Meister's still an extremely good player. You can't say, it's not like he's slumped or anything. He's just not a god anymore. I think at the moment, I might actually favor Snacks as the best player in the server at the moment. He's got a lot of consistency. He's hit his prime in many more ways. He's not just the lurker and all this. He's also now just a big, consistent fragger as well. So I think that's actually one thing that this time I'll put on the side of VP. I think they might have the best player in the server today.
I have a point I'd like
You don't need to raise your hand, Yanko. God, we really have bullied you.
No, but I didn't get to say anything during the map video, so what I'd like to point out in this...
Throwing us under the bus?
In this particular match...
Diva?
is that I feel that, as I mentioned yesterday, that VP has the firepower, you know, to match Fnatic, but they're not gonna win like that. If VP is to win this match, they need to play like a unit, and they need to beat Fnatic as a team. They need to probably shut them down early, because I feel Fnatic still being a new team, even though they only switched out Dennis, it's not that big of a change, you know, you can work around it. I feel that if they shut them down early, Fnatic doesn't have that many tricks up their sleeve, you know. It's going to be harder for them to adjust, to think of something new to do later in a half, especially on their T side, as VP on their CT side are very reactive. They switch things up. You never know what's going to happen. Are they going to push you? Where's the upper going to be, and so on. So that's how I feel this game is.
Well, in that case, an open question to all of you. Would you agree these CT halves are going to be the more important ones, you know, in this series, because we know that both of these teams are very, very good terrorist sides. You know, Virtus.pro probably is right up there with Envious. So we've seen Fnatic
old
playing really aggressive. Oh, old Envious, not the new Envious. As of yesterday, the new Envious. So you know, Fnatic want to play that aggressive terrorist style as well, super pushing. So does these CT sides now take on a new level of importance?
I mean, it's more to me what the Fnatic CT side will be. I kind of know for the Virtus.pro side. And here's the thing. Teams themselves, even if they'll say, oh, we're really confident, or they won't acknowledge a weakness, you can tell by how they play, they do on some level know like where their strengths lie. So someone like VP, you notice they don't get kind of like phased if they do have like a relatively weak CT half. Like if they play Cobble and they actually do give up like 70 rounds to the other guy, they're not like normal teams like, oh, I might be in a better trouble. Like, look, no problem, just win 10 rounds on T side. Well, obviously it wouldn't last that long, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just like, we've got no problem, we can win this on T side. So they know that their game relies on the T side. For Fnatic, it's more like, if Fnatic shows up and it turns out they also have an amazing CT side and a really good team, then they're going to win the series. So it's more the question marks on the Fnatic side for me. And obviously I haven't seen that lineup play lands with this team.
Do you agree with that, or do you disagree?
No, I would agree with that. For me, it's the CT side, and also because we were talking about how, you know, VP can pressure Fnatic to do things they're uncomfortable with. I think that goes for the CT side as well, because obviously they're going to have some sort of default setups that they can rotate around and, you know, throw out variations of. But at a certain point, if they really struggle to hold off DP's takes on mid control and that type of thing, it's going to be really interesting to see what Flesh can come up with to actually get him out of that, you know, rough spot. And I think if they don't do that, then you can really see like something like a 11-4 T side from VP, and then it doesn't really matter how good you are in your CT side, you're still going to be for a really rough time.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that, in my opinion, none of these teams have really been tested so far in this tournament. Yeah, VP had a close game against TSM, you know, they had a terrible first half, almost made a comeback in the second half, but their decider was against Liquid. They were the clear favorites in that matchup, had a pretty straightforward game there. Fnatic had 2 amazing games, only gave up 4 rounds, you know, in their 2 maps. So we'll see how they fare up against a stronger team like VP, and also Liquid against, you know, stronger individuals like Fnatic's players are.
I just need to break away from this for a moment to do a public service announcement. Just been informed by the voices in my head, aka the producer, that we are now at capacity. There are no more seats available. However, if you do want to watch the game, you can go to the DreamHack Arena Extreme. That'll be signposted. You can go watch the game there rather than crowd in. So you can see we've already got a big crowd, a lot of interest in this game. Anyway, back to the analysis. I guess we start moving towards predictions. I guess if you were thinking about things logically, you would perhaps slightly favor Virtus.pro on the basis that they're the more established lineup, whereas Fnatic
they're a known quantity,
quantity.
Yeah. And they're a fantastic known quantity. We know how good they are. These are maps, like particularly Mirage is a map they're very strong on. Usually to beat them on Mirage, you have to be a fantastic Mirage team. So I think, yeah, Mirage is definitely leaning towards them. My problem is, I've never seen Inferno as a really strong, like I say, they only tend to win that when they're in such a god mode. It's like they could beat you on any map at that point in time. So I feel like that's more of a shaky one. And Cash, I mean, both teams haven't liked it recently, but at least Fnatic's got something new going for them where maybe they might like it. VP really haven't liked Cash for quite a while now. They can play it, but it's right down the bottom end of their pool. So I'm actually feeling like, yeah, on paper, Virtus.pro is certainly the favorite. Not by a lot, but they're the favorite. They've got the status where, yeah, they should be considered the favorite. But actually, the map pool, I'm liking Fnatic for this, actually. I'm thinking Fnatic turn up and play well. Doesn't even have to be the same as it was 2 days ago. I think Fnatic can win this because of the maps, 2-1. So I'll give Virtus.pro Mirage, and I'm going to say Fnac's going to win 2-1.
Okay, well, what do you think about this idea? I mean, I talked to the Virtus.pro guys. They said they were super tired coming in. Obviously, they were out in San Jose. They didn't have time to practice. They were basically framing it like, we've had so many tournaments, so many online games lately. Actually, tournament play has been our practice. And they were on day 1, they said they were really feeling fatigued. Is that going to play a factor here?
I think that it plays a factor up until the game goes live, because then you're only thinking about the game, the adrenaline kicks in as well, and you kind of forget about the fatigue or whatever you just play and you want to win. I have this feeling that Fnatic is going to show the same level they've shown 2 days ago, and I think it's going to be real hard for VP to cope with that. It's really hard to predict this one, as we were saying here. I'm going to go with Fnatic as well, say it's going to be a 2-1.
Yeah, well, the desk is in unison, 2-1 for Fnatic as well. I think on Cash, just having the addition and the extra firepower with Dennis on a map like Cash can really benefit Fnatic. So if you have two teams on a map that they don't really like that much, firepower can be exceptionally good solution to that kind of a problem where you don't want to fiddle around and try to read your opponents. You just want to go straight to the aim duels and just open up sites. And I think Fnatic have that opportunity with Dennis in the lineup.
Now, just while we're waiting to get everyone ready on the server, I alluded to this earlier. Cuban did an interview where he said, we are trying out a new thing, we are trying out a new style. We've already talked about Fnatic's new style and how they seem to be moving to a more T-side focused style of play. What was it they were doing differently yesterday, Virtus.pro? Because I'll be honest, they looked a lot like Virtus.pro.
I mean, it's true, they did have a lot more slow executes. Normally the VP style is like, I always think of VP like this, okay, so say imagine they were trying to break into a house. For whatever reason, someone might want to do that. And the house, the door is locked, but like it's slightly, a little bit you can just like push a little gap. Instead of just like going, oh, we'll do like lock picking, that would be like an incredible tactic where you read the round totally or whatever. RPGs. Or instead, they just go, right, there's a little gap, so just shoulder barge it. And then once that, they're like, everyone in, and then they're all running in, and they nick all your stuff. Again, I don't know why they would be doing that. I just think the analogies just come to me okay.
Well, I've just been told we finally got the 1 minute warning, so I've already got predictions.
Sure.
And we're totally standing by them, we're not going to change. 2-1 for Fnatic, 2-1 for Fnatic, 2-1 for Fnatic.
VP, no, I'm going to change now. I'm going to say 2-1 VP because
right, there we go.
Wherever we were in unison, we were wrong, so at least...
You can be wrong on your own, mate.
Yeah.
And we are going to roast you alive.
Brilliant.
So.
Well, look, thanks a lot for your thoughts, gentlemen. It's a beautiful day for Counter-Strike, and we have got a beautiful pair of commentators to bring you this one. It is Tosspot and FiFLaren. Take it away, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Richard. It is a beautiful day for Counter-Strike, and we have two teams on this stage who are beautiful in their own rights. Fnatic of Sweden and the local home crowd's favourites versus Virtus.pro, who I think everyone holds a bit of a soft spot for. FiFLaren, do moments like this make you miss being up on that stage?
Sometimes, especially with the crowd like this, it's amazing.
It's okay. It's not bad being stuck with people like us, though.
Sometimes.
It's still a stage.
I mean,
smaller.
You gotta learn how to deal with Thorin. That's about it.
So, they've given their predictions for this one. I know you're itching to share yours. Thoughts on these two teams?
I actually really like the map pool for Fnatic, and I think that they will actually go away with it, especially looking into the group stage match as well. They were just steamrolling everyone, so...
Now, the words that were used to describe this new Fnatic roster as they've come through is that bringing Dennison gave them more firepower. Talk us through that. Why are they now a firepower team?
Well, I mean, Pronax was their in-game leader. He was more of the support player, the tactical player, whereas you have Dennis. Dennis was by far the best player in LGB, took a break, and then ended up coming back and playing for Gamers 2, and now he's back in Fnatic, so back with the Crimson Wolfmeister, used to play together with LGB. So it's a lot more heavy hitters on the team now, which is something that maybe they were lacking. I mean, I don't think that they were that bad when, you know, Pronax ended up leaving. Yeah, sure, they had a slump, but it wasn't to the point where it's like, well, we can't win any more tournaments.
And what did you make of Taz on the stage there? He wasn't his usual jovial Taz self. You know, sometimes you get to an event and Taz will be upstage taking selfies with you and that type of stuff. That was serious game face Taz.
Yeah, I mean, they want to win. Especially with the bad performance they had at IM San Jose. Sure, they had Mihu instead of Snacks, and that's a heavy hit for VP, especially when Snacks, obviously, it's VP's best player, right? And then you end up missing him. Sure, maybe the firepower wasn't lacking, but when you have such an impactful player not playing on your team, it's different. If Mishu was playing instead of Bialy, then we might have seen a different scoreline, right? But best player out, it actually hurts a lot.
Here we go. We are underway. It's Virtus.pro versus Fnatic on map 1 of 3. You're joined by FiFLaren and Tosspot for this one in the FACEIT semi-finals.
Yeah, you're going to see a smoke run coming in here on the A-bomb side. But look at BL and Pasha, they're very aggressive on the B-bomb side here. So if they really want to, they can actually push and flank here after Fnatic actually finish their execute.
Let's see what Fnatic run as it is Taz in his game face looking to do the damage, and he will go down first, as will Snacks follow him. Fnatic have 3 unanswered frags as they take control of that A site. It is down to just Pasha and Bialy to recover, and the pair of them are stacked up and ready to go. First 2 shots are headshots from Wolfmeister, and that is how you send a message across the stage.
Yeah, I mean, didn't even end up losing a player, and for VP there, you know, that's not how you want to start off a game, right? You go in and you end up missing 10 bullets on the guy in the bomb side. But yeah, for Fnatic, very simple smoke grenade execute on the A bomb side, just end up shooting headshots. So,
what can you do against Wolfmeister in that form? So, this Fnatic side, how much are they still learning one another with this roster change? Obviously, they have the familiarity that they've played with, or many of them played with Dennis before. Or does this just all come naturally when you're at this level?
I mean, when you have a new player, the one thing that you have to adjust is obviously the in-game leading, because now you have Flushlight. Sure, he used to call a little bit before when Pronax wasn't probably feeling too up for it, or maybe they just want to change, and Flusha was the one that was calling, but that's always going to change a little bit. There's different styles of play, so that's just changing a player. I don't think is going to hurt too much, but just the way that you play is going to take some time to get used to.
All right, VP looking to see if there are any Fnatic players coming their way. They have 4 players waiting to predict a B push, but it's going to be Neo who's going to sound the alarm.
Yeah, I mean, nothing here for that VP can do.
Oh, that's how you get yourself out of trouble. First shot to headshot as Dennis goes down. Neo's got a second. JW falls, and now he has an AK for company. Can he follow it up with the third as Neo rolls back the years, looking to hold on to the A side all on his lonesome. Reinforcements have made their way over now, but Taz goes down to Olofmeister's headshot, and Olofmeister goes about it with another twofer. Bialy is out, and it's a 3-on-3. That AK on Neo, who still has 98 points of health after those 2 exchanges will go. Let's see, Pasha's going to have a momentary opportunity, and he takes it. The biceps dispatch of Flusha, and now maybe they have a very small window of opportunity. Neo gets the next frag onto Olofmeister, and Crims will have to do the holding job on that bomb site with what may be a hat trick if he can down Neo, who's had one hell of a round, going for frag number 4. Now it'll be Crims charging up against Neo. Neo does get all 4 frags, but Crims did his job and delayed anyone getting into that site.
Yeah, I mean, I jinxed Fnatic so much there. Neo with 2 incredible headshots, just holding the A-bomb side. That's why I call this, like, nothing for VP can do here. If Neo would have gone down, it's just easier for VP just to save the weapons you had, because you had some guys with armor, you had the pistols, just end up trying to get some exit kills. Neo with 2 great frags, ended up being very close, but then at the end of the day, at least, Fnatic at least won the round.
That'll be a confidence booster for Neo, no doubt. As he also has a weapon to play with this round, and he'll show us exactly how you play, getting the frag onto Crims, as now that Fnatic assault will make its way down in towards that B site, where there are 4 VP players lying in wait for them, but are unable to do anything about it as Olaf and Flusha connect. Bialy does get one onto Olaf. Taz and Neo do help themselves to frags, and suddenly it's JW 1 versus 2, and he will go about his business by taking Neo down to just 9 points of health. And the 2 of them will make themselves hard to spy and try and run down that clock. They know the bomb is laid strewn on the floor. And JW will go out, and he will be left chasing shadows as Taz will be picked off. And now Neo and his 9 points of health have 23 to find on the other man, as he will sit waiting for him and find him. And Neo has certainly had his Weetabix this morning, as he has started on fire.
Yeah, I mean, both rounds, Neo is the go-to guy here. Fnatic always, obviously, almost winning the round anyway. But yeah, 2 great rounds by Neo, and just completely stayed VP there. Always good, especially when Neo was the only one that actually really had anything on the VP side. He had the armor, he had nades, he had the AK as well, just doing work.
Now, let's talk about the setup we have for Fnatic on this round before I get into that question.
Yeah, I mean, it's a force buy completely. I mean, it totally makes sense, especially since VP ended up winning that eco. Fnatic just want to reset their money once more. And you see here, I mean, just look at the minimap. It will be a B push here with a lot of flashbangs going in, and also the Molotov to cover off the car.
All right, on board with Fnatic as they lead the charge in towards that B site where Bialy is lying in wait. Flashes are in, Fnatic are following them, and VP are moving players over from the A site. Pasha strikes first, and it's Dennis that goes down. Can JW echo the role of Neo with just that eagle in situ? No, he can't. Pasha and Bialy have frags, and now Olofmeister is the last man to go down, and Taz has it, and we're at 2-2.
Yeah, very good hold by VP. Actually playing very defensively on that B-bomb side, which was great for him, because if they had played a little bit more aggressive, he would have been Molotov, the guy all the way in the B-bomb side. He would have been Molotov off, he would have probably ended up dying, and then would have given Fnatic so much more space to work with. Now, playing defensively, VP just held that perfectly.
All right. The question I was going to ask you in that last round was, we talked about Fnatic making this change, and they've made maybe once a year they make a change. Virtus.pro head steadfast and have held that lineup for oh so long now. You were in a team that did that. We'll come back to that in just a second here as Snacks picks up 2 frags against the ailing Fnatic side as they go into that A site. You were in a team that did hold steadfast and didn't make roster changes for so long. Talk to us about what that strength brings by the security in numbers and knowing you're going to be together for a while.
Well, you know each other so well, right? You know the tendencies of each player that you play with. And one thing for VP, it's always been the case in the Polish scene, is that they look like they hate each other. You know, that I obviously I don't speak Polish, but just look at the hand gestures and how they actually talk to one another when they lose a game. It's just, you know, they're just screaming at one another, right? So it's good because they can actually take criticism, and then, you know, you learn a lot from just sticking together.
VP have turned this one around and now hold a 3-2 advantage, with Snax and Bjarly picking up a 2-frag advantage here in round number 6. Snax, though, gets caught with his pants down, and Crims will take the frag. It is JW who will level the numbers up as Bjarly goes down, and we're left with 3 apiece here. Virtus.pro not knowing whether they're coming or going, and Fnatic lined up to enter that A site, but not sure if VP are fully convinced by that at the moment.
No, it seems to be a fake because they're not showing the bomb, so VP is a little bit skitterish right now. You see the Pasha just pushing towards the B bomb side just in case they rotate it back. This is very good for Fnatic. Just stay calm, just wait, and just wait for the rotation coming in from VP so they actually don't have to fight too many people.
Here we go from Fnatic now with only 40 seconds left on the clock. Neo is trying to scout above that smoke and still hasn't been able to see much, but he will fire through the smoke, and JW will pick him off before Taz avenges. Crims follows in, and now it is all on Pasha. 1 on 2, a hatful of nades to play with though, and he'll back himself as he pushes in. First man is Fasha, and he is out for the count. Crims, who does have 2 already, is playing hard to get, but that Molotov doesn't go near him and doesn't push him out. And now we'll see Crims show, and will in the end be on the wrong end of a Pasha 2-frag, and that will be VP going 4-2 to the good.
Yeah, very bad position for Crims. Obviously, when the last remaining player from Fnatic went down, Pasha was flanking, Crims had really nowhere to go. Pasha missing the Molotov complete. That could have been a lot worse for VP, but it's very good, very slow and methodical coming from Pasha here. It's actually Flusha that goes down. And for Fnatic, again, it's a very smart play, just holding off a little bit more, just wait for VP to get a little bit nervous and rotate back Pasha, and then you only have to fight 2 instead of 3, right? So good play nonetheless. Ended up not winning that clutch situation. Great from Pasha.
6 rounds in, is this what you expected to see?
Yeah, I mean, for VP, this is their map pick.
Here we go, it's going to be Olfmeister to pick up frag number 1, and he's joined by Dennis on the other side. We've lost a lot of health on the remaining VP players as well, though Taz has leveled the numbers only momentarily. Olfmeister is in on the action too, and now we spy Neo lying in wait. Bomb is in position on the A site, and the remaining 2 Fnatic players are scouting around for our remaining VP players, one of whom is Neo, and he gets himself the frag onto Olfmeister, and we're left level. Who will strike first? Pasha with no sight of the bomb carrier, but we know that Crims knows exactly where he is. He looks for him and finds him as Pasha tries to escape. Bomb will be put down now. Neo and then AWP can't spy much, and he will edge his way in, but this is a much harder retake than the one he faced earlier, as he has little to no information. You can see there's no one on the right, but he's seeing nothing on that other side. And Dennis has done a great job of just being hard to get. And Neo will decide, you know what, I might just call their bluff here, and he does! Picks up the round! Neo rolling back the years, 6-2, 5-2 Virtus.pro.
Yeah, that's a massive communication error coming in from Fnatic. Bad plan to start with, and having a 2-on-1 situation, yeah, sure, Dennis was extremely low, really didn't want to peek there, but look where the bomb is planted, and look where Crims is. He's so far away, and there's nothing you can do about it. Neo just sticking the bomb plant, very, very good. Like, at the point, he has to stick it there, because he's not going to have time anyway. It might end up killing 1, but he's going to end up losing the round, so great play.
Well, Neo, we're on board with momentarily. Now JW. Neo and that AWP looking for love in mid.
Yes, we just have the regular default here from Fnatic. CJW just holding, Flusha and Olfmeister going to take over mid, and Neo with the op here, so we'll see. He ends up actually rotating back towards B, just to go over catwalk. But for Fnatic here, actually the first slow round we actually see just where they're not taking control. It's just leaving VP in doubt.
And here is Neo, and then AWP, he can't escape JW, who gets him just as he was trying to reset positions, and that's a big opening frag for the Fnatic side.
You see here from Flusha actually rotating back. Looks like it's gonna end up going B. I mean, now you have to go B. JW just can just push out of the side. It's completely empty, so...
And Fnatic have their B-bomb site all to themselves. Only Snacks putting up some resistance, and it will be Bjarly left 1-on-3. And he will start well, but has very little health to play with. And expect to see that bomb going down, courtesy of Flusher.
Yeah, I mean, he should just try and save the op here, or at least try to save a weapon. He has all the nades, ending up losing all the money that he has. I mean, look at the up at the top right, $6,000 worth, now even more. So he really needs to save this, because if you look at VP's economy, they can still buy next round, but just ending up saving this one will just save VP so much money.
That's exactly what he's going to do. So it will become 5-3. Home comforts for Virtus.pro thus far on a map that they have so regularly staked their claim upon. And Fnatic will be looking to narrow that gap. What's a halftime score that you'd want to see if you're either side on this?
For VP, VP is a really good T-sided team on this map. So as long as they end up picking up, I would say probably 6 or 7 rounds for VP on this half is great. For Fnatic, I mean, you have the firepower. Look at how they played versus Luminosity and versus NIP. Versus Luminosity, it was a 15-0 on their CT side. And when you have the firepower that Fnatic has, you'll probably end up needing as many CT rounds as you want, because I don't think you're going to have that much of an easy time on when you're CT on Fnatic CT side.
There is that F word described with this new Fnatic lineup. And it is Taz that goes down first. On the other end of the shot from Flusher, but we trade man for man here as Olofmeister is out for the counters. Fnatic are lined up and ready to make their push onto the B-bomb site this time. Well, second round in a row, in fact. And Bjarly is very much aware of it. Bomb being put down by JW. Pasha is the man coming across to assist Bjarly, and the two of them will go almost hand in hand to this site. But between Fire and AK, JW has the frag onto Bjarly. Neo, though, pulls back one more. And Neo can go no farther than Crims. Dennis now coming around from behind, spies Snacks and takes him down within a second. And Pasha and the AWP will escape. 2 rounds in a row for Fnatic, bit of morale boosting for them.
Yeah, both on the B-bomb side. I mean, you saw the tendencies that Fnatic had. You're gonna wait. Yeah, you saw the tendencies that Fnatic had before that.
Oh, Pasha. Clay pigeon shooting Fnatic players as he escapes with that AWP. Will he be able to get past Crims? Yes, he will.
Yeah, I mean, the tendency that Fnatic had before is that they relied heavily on the A-bomb side. Now they switched up a little bit. The round previously, JW with 2 nice entries on the B-bomb side, just left it completely. This round, you saw almost the same, where VP ended up losing 1 member, and then they just completely forgot about B, and Fnatic took that opportunity and just ended up planning. And then for VP, trying to retake the bomb sites when Fnatic has such good positions is going to be super hard. So now you're putting VP in a very awkward position where it's a force buy. If you end up losing this one, you probably have to double save.
VP have rolled the dice. And Fnatic have really in these last 2 rounds kind of taken the pace out of, been able to find that opening frag and react off the back of that. Whereas in the earlier ones, they were going at such great speed. And now we'll see the opening frag this time being reversed. And Snacks helps himself with the help of Taz. Can Taz finish off the job? Yes, he can. It's the bomb carry as well. 3 frags to Fnatic's 1. And now Crimson Olofmeister have it all to do.
Yeah, I mean, great timing push there from VP. Just catching Fnatic completely off guard, especially JW. He was not prepared for that, so it's looking very bad for Fnatic. Fnatic has also very low on money, so this is a very important round for both teams.
2 versus 4. The home favorites with a hatful of nades to work with as they try to force an entry in on this A site. Olofmeister and AWP trained on top of those boxes, see if anyone will dare show themselves, but it is going to be next. Neo, who they do spy, and the warning shot across the bow is sent. Here we go with Olofmeister, another one in the direction of Neo, but can get no further. In the end, he actually, I think, tags Crims, if anything. Crims, though, does get the frag on the Taz before Neo picks him up, and, well, when the bear is hungry, the bear will eat, and Neo is exactly that today. He has been monstrous for Virtus.pro.
Yeah, again, like, great push from VP, just trying to get some more map control. Didn't really spot, they never even spotted anyone in mid. Took the gamble, ended up peeking, and ended up getting the 2 entries there on the A-bomb side. And now Fnatic, look at the buy they have. It's a very sloppy buy. Yeah, you have the mollies, you have 1-2 smokes and a bunch of flashbangs. And you see here the tendency again going over to B. That's what worked, right? The 2 rounds they won on the weapon rounds is the B-bomb side, so.
Well, Virtus.pro have, at the moment, Not enough resources to take on a full Fnatic B push, which does exactly seem to be coming that way. Bjarly, though, picks off Alfmaster, who's trying to flank. Pasha with a point-blank AWP downs Flusher, but we're running out of Polish players there now because Pasha and Bjarly both gone. Neo follows suit, and Fnatic have control of the B-bomb site. And Virtus.pro will now use the 2 men that they've got to try and sandwich a retake, but this is a hard one. And Taz opens up the fragging, but it costs him his life as JW picks him off. And it will be Snacks 1-on-2 to do the dance against 2 players that he can barely see. First man is Dennis, though, and he downs him. JW's next point blank from Snacks with 1 point of health. He gets the kill, but it's too little too late. And Virtus.pro will not save the AWP either. And Snacks was all in vain, 6-5.
Yeah, and like I said, ended up going towards B. Pasha getting the entry in the B tunnel there, ended up going down, giving Fnatic the AWP, and you saw the work that Crims did with that. Ended up killing Neo as well. Nice by Snacks, but then at the end of the day, it took a little bit too long for him to actually try and retake the bomb site. Ends up losing the round anyway. Sure, it's good that you actually end up killing all the Fnatic players, because again, look at the buy the Fnatic has. They won the round, they have 1 smoke and 1 flashbang to work with.
I mean, you could have tickled Snacks, then he would have died, but he was able to deliver those 2 frags. As these saving Virtus.pro players are being picked off 1 by 1. This will tie us up at 6-6. And if you're a Virtus.pro fan, you're sitting happy right now.
Yeah, I mean, so far, but you also look at it this way. For Fnatic, having 6 T rounds so far, knowing that how powerful they are with their aim on their CT side so far during this tournament, I wouldn't really count them out just yet. I think it's going to be an extremely hard half to come back from VP, especially if you end up losing the pistol. Yet another somewhat of a shaky buy from VP here. You don't have the AWP on Neo. You have the Mag 7 on Snacks. You do have some nades though, but you don't have a defuse kit.
There is Snacks looking for that point-blank hit with that Mag 7. Is he going to be able to do it? No, Crims drops him. And Olofmeister will follow up on the Pasha, and what Fiflaren described as a shaky buy is looking less and less stable by the minute. They're on a 1-on-3. Bjarly is that one, and he only has 5 meager points of health to work with, though Snacks proved that these numbers can be done with but 1. But Bjarly is no Snacks, and it will be 7-6.
Great hold from Fnatic. I mean, VP there with the sloppy buy ended up going very aggressive. The first time that they've actually done so in this half, and Fnatic, they were ready for it. Ended up getting those 2 entries, and then just open up the site completely. So for Fnatic now, you see here VP again, because of that buy, they're gonna have to save to be able to buy it on the next round. So it's looking really good for Fnatic so far.
All right, round number 14 starts well with Dennis and the F-word clearing out 2 responses there, but Olaf avenges, and we're left with just Pasha left standing, 1-on-3. What do the Biceps have in store for us now as that bomb goes down and he has very little to play with?
Yeah, again, Fnatic very aggressive, knew that VP would be on a save, just ended up walking up towards A there, getting the 2 entries, open up the site completely, and ending up, I mean, right now you have 8-6, and look at VP's money, yeah, they can buy everything, but if you put that up on Neo, there will be, let's see if they actually did buy the AWP, but you will see here for the remaining VP players, they will actually have enough money to have at least 1 Molotovs, they have the smokes. You actually don't see a kit yet again for VP side, so if the bomb ends up going down, it's going to be very, very hard for VP to actually try and retake that and defuse on time.
All right, let's see what plays out in the last round of this first half. And Crims and his AWP stand firm at the sight of a grenade, and he escapes with half health.
Yeah, yet another default from Fnatic. I mean, saw the tendency that VP had when they 2 rounds ago when they pushed. Fnatic just playing a very calm and collective. They know they can hit the bomb site if they want, because they obviously have the grenades to do so. So for them, it's very smart. Just keep it calm. Just end up trying to get a pick or 2. You see Crims with the AWP as well, just trying to get a pick on B. But JW and Dennis just holding over A. So I think if Crims ends up getting the pick on B now, they might just rotate back.
Well, all on Crims then, as he will go head-to-head with Bjarly on the other side, but they are all lined up for their A push. Crims has yet to see someone, and Pasha gets him in the back, and that will force the A push. Everyone else is over there, and here we go with Fnatic. Dennis leads the assault. He gets one, but goes no further. Snax is the next man into action. Does damage, but gets only one frag as he is out for the count with Bjarly leading in that charge. Neo and his AWP elsewhere have the frag onto Flusher. Dancing through the smoke comes Bjarly, but to go no further, and it's JW and his 1 point of health that will keep hitting harder and harder against these VP players. His grenade does it, but in the end, it is the power of Neo that finishes off JW. Halftime score is Virtus.pro 7, Fnatic 8. Fifth Laren, your thoughts? Who will be the happier of these two sides?
I would probably say Fnatic. I mean, Fnatic, new team, VP there. We're talking about it before coming into the game where they felt a little bit shaky. Obviously been traveling so much, just came back from San Jose. For VP, I think that they had more rounds that they could actually have won. You saw the B hold that they had. It's a little bit sloppy, ended up losing a bunch of rounds on that. Took a few gambles, didn't really pay off. Getting the last round, though, is very important for VP, and now moving forward on their T side, they just have to start off well now.
You've mentioned that trip back from San Jose a few times. Talk us through the life of a professional gamer. What happens in the week after an event when you're going straight into another one?
I mean, they ended up flying back on Monday, I believe, and they ended up coming back to probably flew straight here to DreamHack on Tuesday. So essentially, you only have that one day where you have to adjust your time clock again, and that's extremely hard, especially if we're talking 9 hours here. Super hard. I mean, for the first day, they were probably feeling very tired. Now, coming into the final day today, I mean, I flew the same way, right? And I'm fine today. So should the players in terms of how you adjust. You need maybe more than 2 days to actually adjust when it comes to your sleeping pattern, but now you should be all ready to go.
I'm glad that you're fine as well, by the way.
Thank you, thank you. You see here from VP, you actually have 3 smoke grenades. Bomb is down at T-spawn, just ending up. As Snax is very aggressive here with a little boss buy.
Here we go, it's going to be Snax to be the first man to see action, and it's JW that he picks off, but we lose Pasha elsewhere. As Fnatic will fire shots into the smoke, and it's Olafmeister who has the number on Snax. As Crims and the remaining Virtus.pro players now all funneling towards that B-bomb site as Neo picks them off before being avenged by Dennis. And we are 2 on 2, but no health on the bomb carrier that is Bjarly, and Taz down by Flusher, and this is looking like a very tall order for Virtus.pro to come back from. Fnatic 9, Virtus.pro 7.
Yeah, I actually really don't like that round from VP. You had Snax up in connector there with the Tech 9 and armor, so essentially you have a great position. Yeah, great. I mean, obviously that's you don't repeat that every round, right? But when you have connector and you got it so easily and you have all the smokes, just go end up hitting A, and you can just have Snax there walking into connector and just getting the pickings from B when they rotate back. It's a full save, well, not a full save from VP, but you see there's no nades here. I mean, the only thing that they can really count on getting here is probably like a pick or two, just trying to keep their Fnatic's economy at a minimum. But I don't like this too much. At least try and do something together here. Like, at least like buy one smoke and one flash and just try hit like a bomb site with brute force with what you have. Because here you will probably not get too much of a payoff. Maybe you will end up killing one, but that's not what you're hoping for, especially when you're spending so much money. Right?
Well, so far, the VP player has been hard to find for the Fnatic players, but as you say, they're not really together, and they're going to get attacked 1 versus 1 with weapons aplomb for the Fnatic side. And now we'll see whether Neo, who can push Crims back. But the players that we have for VP are ready now to, it would seem, make their move up towards the A site.
I mean, they have a lot of control, but Fnatic's playing very smart. Just don't let VP get the pick or the duels that they want. Just play the bomb, right? Just when they hit the bomb side, that's when you make your play.
Dennis who's making his play to hold on to the back of that site. Flusher does get Snax before Neo returns the favor. Bomb goes down, money in the bank for Virtus.pro. Let's see whether they can do more than just that. Taz going huge with 2 big frags. Dennis and JW out for the count, and it's 3 on 2 in favor of Virtus.pro now. As Crims looks to re-enter that site, and Olafmeister will come in, charging like a bull in a china shop, downing Taz, and he is having none of this as Crims helps him out, and we are left 1 on 2. Neo, who is, we're left 1 on 1 as Neo, who has been in mean business today, will try to take down that bomb carrier, and will do so. Virtus.pro do much more than we thought they would in that round.
I mean, that's so sloppy from Fnatic. VP, they had nothing. They had 2 Deagles, 2 P250s, and actually 3 P250s, and that was it. And I mean, it was a mistake from Fnatic to begin with when VP actually got the bomb down. Because you had, yeah, you can play defensive, but once you see VP coming into the bomb site, that's when you want to make your play. You don't even want to make him get the bomb plant. Instead, they end up even losing the round. And yeah, great for VP, but Fnatic could have done so much more in that scenario.
Well, now Fnatic under the cosh here with a smorgasbord of weapons against a fully armed and dangerous Virtus.pro.
I feel like I've jinxed myself quite a few times this game so far, so I'm not even going to say anything now. Yeah, VP should win this round. You never know.
Crimson, that scout, can get no further than Pasha as Olofmeister joins him in Beyond the Grave, and the Fnatic players are being dropped one after another. Response is into Snacks, though, and they will now have to try and recover that site, but I think they will focus more on staying alive, as the BGs would sing. This will tie us up at 9-9, and Robin, from here, where do we go? What is, if you're the coach on either side, you're going to walk into those 2 booths, what are you saying to either of them?
I mean, keep in mind, so far, both VP and Fnatic, they both have their timeouts still available, so just in case, I was going to shit hits the fan. I think in the,
I don't think you can say that.
Well, I can. In the UK, you can't say that word. Everywhere else, you can.
What, fan?
Well, the other one. Obviously, it's like saying doing number 2, right? So then Richard Lewis will probably grill me for this one once we're done with this game, because I said the word.
How about, you know, what you would go, the thought that...
Yeah. So if things come to play where you feel like, okay, we don't have any more answers to what they're doing, call a timeout, talk about it then. But so far, I mean, it's so early still in the second half here, so there's still so much time to work with. Fnatic will have yet another save moving it forward to the next round. So now it's just get the round over with, try and do some damage, and once it's done, that's when you make your play.
Pasha is the only line of resistance for Fnatic, who are, well, with the help of Olofmeister, going to at least make this pricey. As the bomb goes down, and Olofmeister ready to roll with another one. Nice work from Olofmeister here as he pulls us back to a 2-on-1, and just as I was about to get excited, he is dealt with by Taz, who defies belief as he grows older and older, but maintains his status at the top of the tree in global Counter-Strike.
Yeah, and I mean, Taz is a great player and remarkable team player, and when you have a team like VP, it doesn't really matter what age you are, you're going to stick together anyway until one of them probably croaks.
Well,
maybe. That was very dark. But yeah, just coming into this buy, Fnatic, not a lot of money. You see there, they don't have that many nades. You don't have a diffuse kit on Fnatic either. Very important round for VP here, actually, because if they end up winning this one, it's going to put on Fnatic yet another save, and it's going to put VP in a really good position. And I think if that happens, Fnatic will just call for a timeout.
Big round for Fnatic as Virtus.pro, who picked this map, are starting to feel confident, starting to get to that magic number.
It's very slow on the target for VP here, just making sure that, okay, Fnatic, they want to dual strike. Fnatic wants to duels, they want to take those plays, and instead just playing very defensive.
Thought you were going to use the F word again. Dennis pushing in. Damn, we'll go no further than Bjarli, but we go frag for frag. Olofmeister now chasing shadows as he tries to do damage, and Flusher will be the next man out. Neo, AK dispatches of Olof, and this Fnatic side right in front of all these VP players, and you just expected it to kick off, and it finally did. It hasn't looked good for the Swedes. Taz and Neo have the frags. Crim's finally in on the board, but it is Crim's or bust for this Fnatic side, and he will accept the challenge, but with a bomb to defuse and 2 escaping VP players, he is going to be asked of a very tall order here as he dances around that bomb site. And Pasha just scouting it out from behind, but Crims will be happier to get away with his life in this one, you feel.
Yeah, especially knowing that they don't have that much money. Great round by VP. I mean, playing very defensively in the beginning, just making sure that Fnatic does not end up pushing, then end up just going with a regular A execute, and they're just massacring Fnatic, completely leaving Crims, you know, all by himself. And again, they did not have a kit. That's why you saw Crims playing very slow, because he probably knew back then, because they knew that the plant was towards connector, and VP already had members there. So it's a very, very hard round to win, and they're actually saving the off instead.
Walk us through the opening parts of that AXQ, because they delayed the entry just enough so they had enough intelligence. Who was doing what there?
I mean, you saw there, VP just took control in the middle, very slow, so you actually had Snacks going into connector, and that's very VP-like, where you may not take it fast, but at the end of the day, you still want people in that mid area, because the whole point is that you want to plan towards connector. So when you have mid and you plan towards connector, that retake for any team is close to impossible, because you have so many positions you can actually hide from.
JW with that. What he made look so easy onto Bjarly, and then follows up with another one onto Snacks, and JW making a real meal of himself over there. Taz and Neo do have frags, but JW has a third, and the man is possessed in this round as he says to the incoming Virtus.pro players that you shall not pass. And he goes for 4, Crims gets the 5th, and Fnatic, when they needed someone to dig deep, it was JW who aptly did so.
Yeah, I mean, JW, 2 entries, ended up with 4 kills on that round with nothing but a ZZ. So great round from JW. Very soft from VP. Here, when they first lose that guy here, they need to stick together. Snacks just completely just ends up jumping down, you know, ending up dying. And then for VP, they can't revenge frag anyone. So it needs to be a little bit more, you know, go together, do it as a team instead of just jumping and do some hero plays. Great round by JW.
JW paid the price for it this round as he was the first to go down, courtesy of Neo's scout. Flushes, swoosh of a grenade lands plumb on the face of Pasha. And we go frag for frag, tit for tat, as we're at a 3-on-3 setup here with 2 on A, and the bomb just meandering its way back from the B site.
I mean, VP, they have the whole A bomb site here, so for Snacks, just start running and just when you're close, because Snacks, Bjarly is the only one with the smoke, so he needs to use it well here, so Snacks can actually go into the bomb site without getting killed, so you get the bomb down, and then VP is in a very good situation here.
Well, right on cue for Mr. Fiflair, and there is that smoke covering Snacks as he puts the bomb down. And now, they've been able to stand a long time. The flash will allow them to take down Olafmeister, and they're left with the man advantage. But Dennis and his AWP is quite the man as he revenges onto Snacks, and we're at 2-on-2. The bomb that's starting to tick louder and louder, and the frags coming in faster and faster. Bjarly onto Dennis. It's Crims to go down next. And Virtus.pro have themselves round number 12. They are but 4 away from map 1 now.
Yeah, Fnatic just had to give away the A bomb side when VP did their push. I mean, they weren't even planning on actually executing there, but since they got the entries and VP already had the bomb side, you saw Snacks rotating all the way back from B, picking up the bomb, and then Bjarly's smoke there actually saved him completely, and then Snacks, you saw the expo flash coming in where he peeked into towards connector. It was a great one. He just landed in the smoke, so you can never see it on Fnatic's end. That's why he got flashed, ended up dying, and then at that point of time, good plant, 3-on-2 situation, not really that much Fnatic can do.
By the book, Virtus.pro took that round. And now, Fnatic with only an AWP for comfort on JW, and they are, if they're unable to pull something out of the hat here, they'll be facing a 3-round deficit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very risky gamble here from Fnatic, because JW is the only one that has anything. Yeah, you have 2 P250s, but JW, he really needs to do work here on this round, because he's at 0 cash right now. So next round coming in, even if they're forced to buy, he's going to end up with close to nothing.
Waiting on that Virtus.pro push, and what you can say of Virtus.pro in their T side is they've given away no cheap frags. Everything that Fnatic have had, they've had to earn here. Virtus.pro dealing in absolutes only as Bjarly dispatches of Dennis, and we begin the assault. But look at Olafmeister coming from behind. Point blank drops Pasha. Can't go any further though as Neo returns the favor. And now you look at the health on those VP players, and they've all taken damage. And let's see whether JW can continue his fine form and pull them out. The answer is no, but Crims himself has made a real meal of things and can go no further than Snacks in the end. And Virtus.pro will take themselves a 3-round advantage, but it wasn't easy.
I mean, yeah, that's very unusual from Olofmeister to start running there, actually. I mean, he was so close to the A ramp anyway, he could have just taken some more extra time. Because there, I mean, you saw Pasha instantly turn around when Olofmeister started running, ended up going down, sure, but then instead of running, you could have just walked up, you couldn't even knife that guy, picked up the AWP, and then you would have been in a much better situation. Now instead, you ended up running, got killed, and then for VP, I mean, it was close. JW missed a bunch of shots there as well. Didn't really pay out with the AWP, and now you see the buy, right? Very, very sloppy JW with the CZ. Sure, did great work on that a few rounds ago. But it's looking very grim for VP right now, or for Fnatic.
Well, Olofmeister ticked off for advancing there as well. And Virtus.pro now will be feeling the confidence here.
Yeah, and this is very VP. I mean, take mid control, very aggressive, make sure you have it, and then you can do a lot of things with the mid, right? You can go A split, you can push B, and especially now, I mean, look where they're standing, right? Snax is, as always, in the smoke, chilling somewhere. I think JW knows.
Oh, not sure he did, but he reacted quick enough, and it's his headshot onto Snax that has given Fnatic the advantage, which Pasha will allow to continue for mere seconds. Crims on the site, firing across to the incoming Taz, and will be sent packing by the veteran. As Fnatic bid to make as much as they can of this, because they know they will be facing a real mountain to climb if they can't pull this one out of the bag. Dennis now leads the charge with his famous power as he waits on reinforcements that are going to call for a retreat. And it'll be Pasha to be hunting Fnatic players out to make this as pricely a round as possible. And it is Flusher that will be the first. And will it be Dennis to be the next? Oh, Dennis will be something of a menace and not allow that to happen. But still, Virtus.pro now about to hit 14 against Fnatic's 10.
Yeah, I mean, this is where you call a timeout from Fnatic. You have the 2 weapons saved, it's 14-10. Yeah, and there we go. Fnatic calls for a timeout. Great. I mean, it's a little bit too late now, because you only have so many rounds to work with, and just basing off of Fnatic's money, yeah, sure, they saved the 2 weapons. Both Dennis and Olofmeister can drop a FAMAS each, and you're going to see yet another buy here, unless they go for the tie. But here in this situation, where VP has so many more rounds to work with, and they can't find a way to actually stop VP from taking that mid control, you got to try something here. And for VP, what they want to talk about here is not, well, what have we been doing? Okay, we've been taking over mids, both.
50 is love, 50 is life, I agree.
Oh, do you really?
I get the pleasure of sitting next to you every day.
Yeah, I know, but
I could admit to that.
Yeah, but then I say some of those things and you don't really like it. Back to my point. For VP here, it's very important. You don't want to just sit and relax here now. You want to talk about what is Fnatic talking about to counter us. So now, if I was VP, one thing that I would do right after a pause like this, because you know that, okay, well, there's not many rounds to work with, you want to play very safe, very defensively, just make sure that Fnatic does not gain any aggressive play, does not do like an aggressive play to go for the entry. Just stick all the way back, just make sure you don't push, and then by the time is right, you notice in the beginning of the 20 seconds or so, that's when you can make your play and start getting map control again. But just be very, very, so you don't end up doing something, play very aggressive, you end up going down, because that's exactly what Fnatic wants in this case.
We saw Vugo there on camera. Fnatic's now 3rd coach. It was Khan behind them in the DreamHack Winter Major that they won. It was Devilwalk behind them in Katowice that they won. What is his role? What does he bring?
I think that, I mean, Vugo was also around when Devilwalk was around for one of the majors that they play. I forget which one it is. But Vugo's been around in this team for a longer period of time as well. So Vugo is the kind of guy who's like a very outspoken. You know, he likes to actually look into a lot of things for Fnatic. And for him now, I mean, he's the go-to guy for Fnatic now, especially when you end up not having Pronax anymore. He's the guy that's going to have to tell the team, like, guys, we got to do this. This is not working. Yada yada yada.
Yada 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 indeed. As we hit what could be the final 2 rounds that Virtus.pro need to close this map out. Or did Vugo yada 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 Fnatic into some form of inspiration?
I mean, as of late, every time Fnatic has taken a pause in God knows how many tournaments now, you saw that in a lot of situations where they take a pause and then you just end up winning the game. We'll see if this still sticks with Dennis on the team.
You have just cursed them, my friend.
I curse everyone.
The commentator's curse from Friflaren lives alive and well.
Look at this. Look at the fake from VP. Just ended up throwing a bunch of nades. They need to go now. Look, A bomb site is completely open. JW now is just about to rotate. Bialy getting the bomb down. This is rough for Fnatic.
JW walks into a whole world of trouble on A with a fully armed and dangerous Virtus.pro lineup, and Fnatic decide they're going to have to contest this, or they're going to be fighting from 5 match points down, but it is not easy at all. Snax has cleared out B elsewhere, by the way, but what you will see now is the full onslaught of that A defense. Pasha, Taz, Bialy all have frags, and Virtus.pro have 15.
I mean, that was some sexy Counter-Strike, Stuart. Take off your shirt. It's time.
All right. I don't need to be told twice.
Great round by VP, just ending up faking the B bomb site. I was looking at the minimap the whole time, and you saw instantly when the smokes came down and you saw Snax pushing in, Fnatic, they're very stressed at the point where it's like, oh, smokes B, flashes B, everyone rotated back, but without realizing, well, where are they? I thought you said they were coming, but it's like, oh, sorry, I was kidding. They're at the A bomb site, not planning. My bad.
My bad. That's exactly what you want to hear. What is my bad in Swedish?
Midfield, thin. Well, thin is when you're not losing.
Opening frag for Dennis before Bialy takes care of him. Flasher's grenade is paired with a frag of his own, and Fnatic not quite done yet, but 2-on-2 to save Fnatic in this one as Pasha and Bialy bid to end this as quickly as possible. But Bialy cannot escape from Olofmeister, and Pasha is left in a 1-on-2. And he will easily dispatch of Olofmeister as he comes marching around the corner and says, thank you very much, Olof. And we will now see what he has lined up against Crims with 50 seconds to play.
Yeah, I actually don't know what Olofmeister did there, because Crims had full mid control, and Pasha actually ended up killing someone in mid 20 seconds ago. So Olofmeister, very sloppy there, maybe miscommunication, but they should have known that Pasha would be coming from T-spawn.
Miscommunication is a word you mentioned maybe 2 or 3 times in this first half. Is that the kinks of a new man, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, that as well, and you're very flustered, right? You're down 15-10. You know, at that point, it's very stressful. But I'm going to have you take it this over now, because I think we're going to see action.
Here we go, 1 versus 1 for the map, as Pasha strides in to the A site and is struck down by Crims, as Fnatic hold on to map 1.
Yeah, great job by Crims. I mean, when it comes into a one-on-one situation there and Pasha ends up going towards middle, what happens is, sure, neither of the players know where they are, right? So Crims taking the gamble is like, well, I'm going to have to take one gamble. There's no point in just sticking in mid. Just take a gamble, A or B, and just stay there. If he ends up planning B, okay, you know, it's a 50-50. Now he just took his ground there and they up, you know, winning the round.
So Fnatic with a glimmer of hope. They push out mid now looking for players, and they do get one, but it's going to come at the expense of 2 of their own. That Mag 7 of Olofmeister out to be called into action as well, as he goes scouting for the bomb carrier, and he will get himself into the position he wants. He wants up close and personal, but the players will escape and Snax will be watching.
That timing. I mean, Olofmeister has been flanking. That was the 3rd time he was flanking throughout this series, or on the VPC side. Snax just ended up just scoping at the right time, and they have going down.
And they'll use that opportunity to double back and go towards B. They'll occupy JW, who will have only Crims for comfort, who is scouting mid. And Taz hasn't been able to keep JW at bay, and they now know what's coming. It is going to be bomb about to be planted unless Crims can fire a few warning shots, and the 2 of them now will try to sandwich this out. The grenade pushes him back. JW walks in, walks straight onto the end of a weapon. Virtus.pro have taken map number 1 by 16 rounds to 11. It was Mirage, it was their choice, but they have sent a message here that, as Taz rightly said, they are no underdogs here in the FACEIT semi-finals. Fnatic, your closing thoughts on map number 1?
I mean, for VP, on their T side, actually for Fnatic, they actually started off really well, but then switching over, Fnatic was never in a situation where they had their money in their favor. Look at Fnatic's CT side, they ended up winning the pistol, then they ended up losing the eco. So every round that they only won 3 rounds on their CT side, and every round that they won was after every 4th round. So then what happens is you end up winning, and then you end up dying for a bunch of players, and then you end up with a lot of very low buys. And you can't do that on a Mirage, especially versus a team like VP, where you see there, you need to contest middle, you have to take control, because if you give VP control in middle, you're gonna have a very hard time even holding either side, because you have no idea where to go.
What do you say at halftime? Got 10 minutes to go, have a cigarette, grab a Coke, do what you do. For Fnatic, how do they build themselves up? They've been here before.
Yeah, I mean, it's very standard. If you end up losing their map, it's very easy just to be like, well, it was their map choice, guys. Maybe we haven't really played it too much. And it's one of the maps that Fnatic, they just started to get back into. They haven't really played it too much as of late, and now with the latest edition of Dennis, it's you know, it's a work in progress.
Well, it's standing room only here in Jönköping. If you want to find out more, go check out The Score. Esports, the official coverage partner for news, stats, and content available from the App Store and the Play Store. We'll be back after this.